This is the RV Advisor Podcast with your host, Tom Alexander. Get all the latest information, trends, advice from experts, stories from the road, and more in the world of recreational vehicles. Now, here's Tom.
Welcome to the RV Advisor Podcast. My name is Tom Alexander, and joining me today from Duoform in Edwardsburg, Michigan, it is the Vice President of Finance, Mike Ganger. Mike, welcome.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
We're hanging in there up here in southwestern Lower Michigan.
Yeah. We were talking off air, and you told me it's not too far from the great Notre Dame University. Pretty close by, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. We're Edwardsburg, Michigan is roughly located about 2-3 miles north of the Indiana state line, and we're just due north of Notre Dame. So
gotcha. Okay, I gotcha. So obviously the main thing on everybody's mind, and has been for over a month now globally, is of course the pandemic, the COVID-19 or coronavirus pandemic, and everybody in your immediate orbit is doing okay, I hope.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we've had to obviously change some things around in our production capacities. Duoform is I would say 80% of our business is comprised of sales to the OEMs in the recreational vehicle industry.
Yeah.
So obviously we've had to make some major adjustments. We roughly have a staff of 180 individuals. Unfortunately, we did have to lay off a large portion of them just due to the OEMs not operating currently.
Right.
But our plan is to bring the majority of those people back.
Yeah, it seems to be an ongoing theme, unfortunately, across the business spectrum. It's just there's just no work to support those folks, a lot of folks, and but you have made a transition. Normally, you're like you said, it's like heavy gauge plastics and things like that, and parts for RVs and things like that. Skylights, I think, right? Skylights in particular.
Correct. Yeah.
So you've made a transition, and what you're doing is you're making, from what I understand, like face shields and things like that for folks that are on the front lines fighting the virus. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Through our experience with polycarbonates, and Duoform roughly manufactures almost 500,000 pieces a year that we sell to the RV OEMs, whether that be through most of that is skylights, and they're manufactured from polycarbonate materials. And polycarbonate materials make really good face shields. So when this came about, the idea was kind of hatched internally here by our new product development team, by our internal salespeople. I mean, how can we help those in need and those that are on the front lines? How can we do something for our community to give some of our people a job to do, and to feel good about what we're doing, to feel good about why we're here. I mean, this is a tough time for everyone. For every single American, we're going to be impacted in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So that's where the idea kind of came from, and it's really taken off from there.
Well, that's terrific. We want to learn a lot more about all this, and we will. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back. Our guest is Mike Ganger. He's the VP of Finance at Duoform. My name's Tom Alexander. This is the RV Advisor Podcast. Back in a moment.
Meet Terry and Carrie. They want an RV. Really, they want the freedom that comes with being able to pick up whenever they want and to move from one breathtaking view to another. The kind of freedom that takes them across the country and beyond, living their dream. But if they buy the wrong RV, it might actually pop their dream world. Maybe they pick one that's too heavy to tow for their vehicle, or go with the wrong dealership who won't service their RV. There are questions to ask before they buy, and even more once they become an owner. Thankfully, there's the RV Advisor, the only non-biased platform for information for the RV and outdoor enthusiasts. Get the best tips, tricks, and discounts at all KOA nationwide campgrounds and other huge discounts that every RV enthusiast will love. Now, Terry and Carrie are living the life exactly how they want.
Visit thervadvisor.com or call 833-229-0911. We are back on the RV Advisor podcast. My name's Tom Alexander, and I'm speaking with Mike Ganger. He's the VP of Finance at Duoform. They're based in Edwardsburg, Michigan, which is just north of South Bend, Indiana, of course, home of the great Notre Dame University. And Mike was sharing with us a little bit about what they normally do there at Duoform, largely building skylights and other things for RVs. And now kind of shifting the business, transforming, like so many other people in this country and factories and stuff, trying to get on the front lines or help those folks on the front lines, supporting them with products that they need. And in this case, face shields to protect them. So, wow, boy, that's great. We've talked to folks that have converted their factories, Mike, into places where masks are made and all kinds of things. So, it's pretty interesting how people have made this transition, and you guys are no different, right?
That is correct. I mean, it's we're utilizing materials that we're used to, but we're having to do some different things. Thermoforming is what we do. We're having to heat the plastic a little bit differently, and basically we're creating a form off some really put together, very quickly put together mold bases.
Yeah.
In order to produce parts. But it's been really interesting to see our capabilities and to see how our production staff, originally when we kicked off the project, the first day, I think we made about 70 face shields, and we really felt great about that. Today, we can roughly produce, and this is only roughly, Tom, about 2.5 weeks after the project initiated, we can produce upwards of 1,000 a day.
Wow.
That's pretty huge credit to our production team here at Duoform and also our new product development team to get that up and running.
How many hours a day? Yeah, that's amazing. How many hours a day are you at the, not you personally, but the staff at the facility?
Right now we're producing face shields at 5 days a week, basically 3 shifts, so 24 hours a day.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. So it's round the clock for 5 days. That's amazing. That is really something. Now, as VP of Finance, obviously we have an idea of the kind of work that you do, but boy, it sure sounds like you're no stranger maybe to getting your hands dirty. I mean, it sounds like you walk around the facility, you know what's going on down there. You see what transpires on a daily basis. Tell us a little bit about your involvement in what you do on a daily basis, first under normal circumstances and right now.
Right. Well, as you mentioned, Tom, I am the VP of Finance. I've been at Duoform for 14 years. I came here from the manufactured housing industry, believe it or not, 14 years ago, into plastic. I actually knew the majority owner of the business. So I've known him for 25 years. He gave me the opportunity to be a minority partner in this business, so I'm also one of the minority owners.
Yeah.
I've done about every job here, from being from a clerical employee all the way. I was the president here for 6 years as well. My forte is accounting. I like numbers. I'm a very analytical person. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do full time in a normal day. Is I like to focus on the book, but also work with our entire staff on how do we make our business more successful, and that goes hand in hand in working with obviously our purchasing team, our sales and development team, our engineering team, just to stay abreast of what's going on within the organization. So, and I guess, as our country has been faced with this coronavirus pandemic, has my role changed any? Not really. I need to do what is how do we keep our doors open? I guess just business, like I said, is 75 to 80% reluctant upon or dependent upon the RV industry and those OEMs. As you mentioned before, we are one of the nation's leaders in skylight materials that go into these products and different things. But the biggest source of our revenue is probably RV bath products. So chances are, if you own an RV that has plastic bath products in them, there's probably a 90% chance that those are our products.
Wow! Wow!
So we produce actually roughly about 3,000 to 5,000 bath tubs or bathtub surrounds, which would be basically a shower wall. Produce 3,000 to 5,000 a week when things are good. So
wow, that's unbelievable. I mean, just that number alone is a little staggering, considering I mean, I know the RV business is a booming business, certainly under normal circumstances. But boy, that just seems like an awful lot of pieces in place per week. Wow, that's incredible. And the fact that you have, you mentioned that figure, 90% of most of what people are seeing in their RVs are manufactured there. That's something to be proud of, and it's pretty astounding. And of course, Duoform has been around since 1975, 45 years, long time in the business.
Right, and actually, 1975, I know it was listed there, but actually we've been around since 1960. I think 1968. So we actually just celebrated our 50th anniversary here recently.
Yeah.
And so we've been around over 50 years. We've been under, Duoform's always been a heavy, thick gauge thermoformer. Supplying bathtubs to the RV and manufactured housing industries, bathtubs, shower surrounds, shower pans, plastic bath products, I guess, would be our forte, and then throw the skylights in there.
Got it. Wow, that's a lot. Tell us a little bit about, if you can, maybe just a little bit of a profile of the area. Obviously, we'd mentioned Notre Dame is very close by.
Yep.
But in terms of there's two things. A little bit about the area, and also how the numbers are always different depending upon what part of the country you're in. We're here in South Florida, and of course, our numbers are very high with the virus. New York State, New Jersey, we've all seen the news. There are certain places in the country less affected. First, how are you guys doing out there as a whole? I mean, is it are the numbers steady, or are they increasing? What's going on out there?
Right. Good question. To tell you a little bit about Edwardsburg, Michigan.
Yeah.
Like I said before, Edwardsburg is located just 3 miles from the Indiana state line, just due north of basically Granger or Mishawaka or South Bend, Indiana.
Yeah.
We are located right in the heart of the RV capital of the world, and that is Elkhart, Indiana.
Right.
Obviously, Elkhart has been featured on the national news from time to time.
Sure.
Everybody kind of identifies, the RV capital of the world as Elkhart, Indiana.
Yeah, we actually just spoke with the mayor of Elkhart just a few days ago. So,
Rod.
Yeah, Rod.
Rubber.
Yeah, great guy. Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
So So in our area, what has been the impact of the coronavirus, COVID-19? We've actually one of the benefits we've had with these face shields is we've actually worked very closely with one of the doctors at Memorial Hospital of South Bend on the design of the face shields, and he's also given us kind of an inside track of what is really going on within South Bend, Indiana, which is located in St. Joe County, just like I said, just south of us here, where we are in Michigan. So in Indiana, this part of Indiana, southwestern Lower Michigan, is very rural. We have one big city. We've got basically South Bend, Elkhart, Goshen area, but that's really it in terms of large municipalities.
Yeah.
So. Right now, I believe in St. Joe County, we've got 100 confirmed. We've got, 100 confirmed cases of COVID-19, and I think it may be a little bit more than that. I'm thinking maybe Elkhart County, which is Goshen, Elkhart area, does have 100 cases. South Bend area, which is St. Joe County, Indiana, roughly over 300. And where we are in southwestern Lower Michigan, the numbers are below 100. But like I said, here in southwestern Lower Michigan, this is a very rural area. Our biggest city around here in this area would probably be Niles, Michigan, or Three Rivers, Michigan, which is to the just to the east of us. So,
Gotcha.
Not too much of an impact. I think it's kind of unique in that we're located so close to the Indiana state line that the states of Indiana and Michigan are controlled by two different governors. So, and that's kind of where the stay-at-home orders and things that we faced here in our area are a little bit different. The state of Michigan's orders from their government has been, or the Governor Gretchen Whitmer has been a little bit more stringent on businesses. So far, we've been able to keep our doors open. Obviously, we're providing a product critical to infrastructure in those
an essential.
Right. We also do some work outside of the RV industry, in industries that are critical to infrastructure within the transportation and medical industries. So, and of course, with our RVs being essential, I think we would be just fine once they come back on board. In Indiana, a little bit more lax, not as many restrictions, that those residents face in Indiana. I'm an Indiana resident,
right?
It's a little bit different in Indiana than it is in Michigan.
Yeah, so you have to cross.
The line.
Yeah, you have to cross the state line every day to go to work, huh?
Right.
Yeah. I know, and it's interesting because Gretchen Whitmer, who you said is the governor of Michigan, has been in the national news a little bit because a potential candidate for a VP in the Democratic side. So that's interesting. Not that we don't do politics on this show, but it is newsworthy certainly, and in the midst of what you were talking about, in relation to what you're talking about, certainly a key name. So very interesting. I mean, it's good to hear that your area specifically is not completely inundated with this situation like a New York State or New Jersey or Florida or a few other choice spots in the country. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I mean, the state of Michigan obviously is up there in terms of the number of coronavirus cases.
Yeah. But
most of those cases would be on the eastern side of the state,
right?
Over by the Detroit and Flint areas. I know have been hit really hard.
Sure.
But here, like I said earlier, we're very rural here in this part of southwestern Lower Michigan, so the impacts have not been that great.
Yeah. Well, listen, I got to tell you, it's a very, very interesting, and not only that, but also just impressive how you guys have made the transition, the transformation from doing what you normally do, which I'm sure there's still some of that going on, but also now the face shields for the folks on the front lines to help assist in their fight. So thank you. Congratulations on what you're doing, and it's great, and it's certainly well appreciated by not only all of us here in the RV industry, but certainly everybody that is up against this pandemic, and that's everyone in the world, really. So it's thank you.
Well, thank you, Tom, for having me on. I would like to mention two other products that we have developed. Our Duo Protect team actually has come up with two other products that actually can help medical frontline people, can help some of our retail stores to stay safe during this time. The first product is an intubation box. Intubation boxes are used in the medical emergency rooms for patients that need to be intubated. They basically place a plastic cover over them. So during the intubation process, their particles may leave their mouth or whatnot, and it will not get on those doctors. Those products can be viewed at our website if you'd like to see what they are. And then also we've created some basically shielding devices that can be used in retail stores, can be used in offices. That basically it's a polycarbonate shield that basically shields you from other individuals. So
Wow.
kudos to our great teams here. I mean, they continue to design, develop, and it's really been amazing to observe.
Well, that's amazing. It begs the question really quickly because we are running out of time. But I want to say that are these when you manufacture these or design these, both? What's the guideline? I mean, do you have a template, or is the specifications come from a medical source, or how do you know how to even how does that work?
Right. Well, like I said before, we've worked closely with the doctors in South Bend through a mutual associate here at Duoform, has a sibling that's a doctor over there. We've worked with them on the design of the face shields, on the design of the intubation boxes. Yeah. The shields basically was our in-house design in terms of for retail stores and whatnot, things that we had seen locally at our local grocers, at our gas stations. We're like, wait a minute, we could do something. We could make it better, make it easier.
Yeah.
And that's really what we look to do here is make things easier for people and right now basically provide protection and make things safer in this environment that we all face.
Wow, fantastic! Wow, really, really great. Thank you so much again, Mike, and best of luck to you and your team. And stay safe and stay home as much as you can.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Tom, and you do the same.
Mike Ganger is VP of Finance at Duoform in Edwardsburg, Michigan, and he joined us from his office today. This is the RV Advisor Podcast. I'm Tom Alexander. We thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. So long, everybody.